Listen to this. Black American men played a pivotal role in securing the 14th Amendment, reshaping U.S. history. The 14th Amendment, the very foundation of equality in America, was once on the brink of complete failure. It was dying on the vine. The former Confederate states, still defiant after the Civil War, refused to ratify it. The promise of equal protection and the very definition of American citizenship were about to be strangled in a cradle by the exact same forces that had just torn the nation apart. But in a radical high stakes political gamble, the future of American democracy was placed into the hands of a group of newly freed men. This is the incredible story of how black men voting for the very first time saved the 14th Amendment for millions and changed America forever. I'll be back. You know what? I ain't come to no conclusion. I always been at this conclusion. You know what, black man? You know how you're going to be respected? By respecting yourself. I'm talking about my black American men. But yeah, you guys, the only way you're going to get respect is to respect yourself and your community. You keep trying to go out there and do it on your own or disassociate yourself from your people who have strong lineage in this country, you're going to keep getting spit in the face and kicked in the ass. So, you guys have done a lot for this country. Black American men, I'm talking about you right now. And you do not get close to the respect that you're supposed to have. And notice I never use that word deserve. You know why? Because I can't stand that word. That word, along with accountability, I hate when people say deserve. You deserve. You deserve. You know what? A lot of people don't deserve anything but a swift kick in the ass. You don't deserve nothing. So I don't say that word. But black men, you guys have done, our black men, aside from whatever happened these past 20 years, where I don't even know, at this point, I don't even know if it's black men, American men who get on social media talking greasy about black American women. At this time, we need to start looking at people's pedigree. When you get on a platform and you want to talk greasy about black American women, I need to know your lineage. And if you are FBA, shame on your ass. And you better be careful talking about black American women, because you see what has happened to these men that built platforms putting black American women down. They're not breathing air today. Y'all better stop playing with God's women. With his chosen women, you better stop. Back to you, black American men. You guys have done a lot for this country that you do not get acknowledged for or respect for. Our black men ancestors have done a lot. And you know what? How it's going to change? We make it change. We have to be, you want respect, we have to be the respect we demand. To be respected the way you're supposed to be respected and not treated like you're second to white men. And when you think about it, it's ludicrous because they learned a lot from us in this country, because where they came from, Caucasus Mountains or Europe, wherever, they had no clue about horticulture like we did. They learned a lot from us that they will not admit today. They only are in the position they are in by default, and that's coming to an end soon. And because they imitate us and watch us, we have to demand the respect that we're supposed to have. And the only way you're going to get it is carrying yourself as such. Because I don't care whether you're a Black American or not. You don't get respect from me if you don't carry yourself that way. I don't care who you are. I don't. I treat you accordingly. And I'm trying to get my people to understand how much we have contributed to this society and other societies, because they took what they learned from us and took it to their cultures. So we're not going to tolerate this disrespect anymore. No, we won't. No, we're not. Doing the research that I do and learning more and more about our people, our strength, our tenacity, our boldness, our assertiveness, not giving up when everything was coming against us, it makes me have nothing but respect for my people. Nothing. I don't give a F what you feel about them. I don't care what you say about them. You come lying and calling them nothing but drug addicts and child, what do they call the women? They call the men thugs. They call women what? Baby mamas. But there are some baby mamas and thugs out there that's more smartest than the smartest person that's in college now. I met some of them. As I said, my sister and I used to do documentaries, and we used to be in them streets talking to these street dudes, talking to these dudes that just got out of prison for unaliving folks or selling that stuff. And you know there's some brilliant people in them streets, men and women. You would know if you gave them the time of day and stop judging. I adore my Black men, but I ain't gonna say y'all don't get on my nerves, especially the ones that act like you're allergic to Black American women and acting like you didn't come from the vagina of a Black woman. You are despicable, and your day is coming. But you Black men that ain't got no issue with women who look like you, you are adorable to me. Nothing but respect for you. I just had to say that. So let's go on. So I ran into this article talking about how Black men are the ones who fought for and secured the 14th Amendment for millions. I was like, what? Let me look into this. I was like, okay, what I'm going to read, you're going to understand why I can believe that amendment was for us. And then you had other snakes get in there and mess around with the words and do whatever. They took it and they ran with it and used it for others. Others to come over here and look down at us. When my Black men put their lives on the line to secure this and secure the other Black men and women, secure the rights that's on the books today, while your ass was in your country fighting just to make 2 cents an hour. So don't play with me. The fight for Black freedom, including the contributions of Black soldiers in the Civil War and the activism of Black leaders, directly led to the 14th Amendment, which established birthright citizenship for all persons born in the U.S., securing legal rights for formerly enslaved people and fundamentally changing American citizenship. While Black men fought as non-citizens, initially their struggle and demands for equality were central to the Reconstruction amendments, making birthright citizenship a reality for Black Americans and the future generations. Now that paragraph alone sounds like that was just for us. It was just for us. And if your parents, great parents didn't come over here and fight in these wars, I don't think you should have that privilege that comes with birthright citizenship. Now you can call me whatever you want to. I don't think you should be participating in that privilege. Let's go on. Passed by Congress June 13th, 1866 and ratified July the 9th, 1868. Took over 2 years. The 14th Amendment extended liberties and rights granted by the Bill of Rights to formerly enslaved people. That's it. It said it right there. Okay. Following the Civil War, Congress submitted to the states 3 amendments as part of its Reconstruction program to guarantee equal civil and legal rights to black citizens. A major provision of the 14th Amendment was to grant citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, thereby granting citizenship to formerly enslaved people. Another equally important provision was the statement that nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. The right to due process of the law and equal protection of the law now apply to both the federal and state governments. I still believe all this had to do with our people. And then other groups came in here and benefited from it. We should get reparations from y'all too. Every group that migrated over here, especially in the 1800s, Italians, Irish, all y'all, Hispanics, Asians, we should get reparations from your ass too. On June the 16th, 1866, the House Joint Resolution proposing the 14th Amendment to the Constitution was submitted to the states. On July 28, 1868, the 14th Amendment was declared in a certificate of the Secretary of State, ratified by the necessary 28 of the 37 states, and became part of the supreme law of the land. Congressman John A. Bingham of Ohio, the primary author of the first section of the 14th Amendment, intended that the amendment also naturalized the Bill of Rights by making it binding upon the states. When introducing the amendment, Senator Jacob Howard of Michigan specifically stated that the privileges and immunities clause would extend to the states the personal rights guaranteed and secured by the First, Eighth Amendments. Historians disagree on how widely Bingham's and Howard's views were shared at the time in Congress or across the country in general. No one in Congress explicitly contradicted their view of the amendment, but only a few members said anything at all about its meaning on this issue. For many years, the Supreme Court ruled that the amendment did not extend the Bill of Rights to the states. Not only did the 14th Amendment fail to extend the Bill of Rights to the states, it also failed to protect the rights of black citizens. A legacy of Reconstruction was the determined struggle of black and white citizens to make the promise of the 14th Amendment a reality. Citizens petitioned and initiated court cases. Congress enacted legislation, and the executive branch attempted to enforce measures that would guard all citizens' rights. While these citizens did not succeed in empowering the 14th Amendment during Reconstruction, they effectively articulated arguments and offered dissenting opinions that would be the basis for change in the 20th century. Most of us know the United States fought a civil war, but what happened after is a chaotic, thrilling, and ultimately devastating period we call Reconstruction. With the 13th Amendment passed, slavery was abolished, but the question of what freedom actually meant was completely up for grabs. For 4 million newly emancipated black people, it was a moment of incredible possibility. For the defeated South, it was a moment of bitter resistance. Almost immediately, Southern states passed a series of laws known as the Black Codes. Let's be clear, this was slavery by another name. These codes told black people where they could work, if they could own property, and even whether they could be out after dark. Some states, a black man without a job could be arrested and forced to work for whoever paid his fine. This wasn't just a social backlash, it was a political strategy. Unrepentant Confederate leaders were getting elected right back into power, showing up in the state houses and even Congress as if the war never happened. It just seemed like it's been a big game played at our expense, but from both sides, black folks. This defiance boiled over with the 14th Amendment, proposed in 1866. Its first section was revolutionary. All persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens. It promised equal protection of the laws for everyone. This was a direct attack on the black codes and the entire social order of the Old South, and the South knew it. Now, that, from what I'm reading, that is why they adopted the 14th Amendment, because it was coming against the black codes. And if your ass wasn't in this country at that time dealing with the black codes, why do you think you have a right to have the privilege of the 14th Amendment? That's all I want to know. Why you think it's your right? Because these Democrats told you? And these are that's the same party that was fighting against my folks being free. So of course they would lie to you. Because anything that had to do with our benefit and our fight, they want to smear it. Let's go on. Yeah, we need to bring a whole lot of lawsuits against a whole lot of folks. And I'm talking about these groups too. All of them that participated and taking advantage of this amendment that our people fought for, and coming over here being biased and prejudiced. Let's go on. President Andrew Johnson, a Southern sympathizer, made his disapproval of the amendment public. Following his lead, the former Confederate states rejected it one by another. By early 1867, the amendment was completely stalled. It was clear it would never get the third-fourths majority it needed to become law. The core ideas of birthright citizenship and equal protection were deadlocked and held hostage by the very people who had just lost the war. Congress was in a bind, having won the war, but now drastically losing the peace. A new, more radical plan was needed. With the nation stuck, a group in Congress called the Radical Republicans decided on a bold, unprecedented plan. They saw that President Johnson's lenient version of the Reconstruction wasn't working. To truly remake the South and secure the rights promised by the 14th Amendment, they had to completely change the political game. Their solution: the Reconstruction Acts of 1867 passed over President Johnson's vetoes. These acts were a political earthquake. They wiped away the existing defiant state governments in the South and placed the region under military rule. But the real genius and radicalism of the plan was what came next. For these states to get back into the Union, they had to do two things: write new state guaranteeing equal rights and ratify the 14th Amendment. And here's the key that unlocked the entire puzzle. The Reconstruction Acts demanded that the voters and delegates for these new governments be elected by all male citizens, regardless of race. For the first time on such a massive scale, black men in the South were given the right to vote and hold office. This was an astonishing gamble. At the time, even most northern states had laws restricting black voting. The idea of enfranchising millions of formerly enslaved people was seen as dangerously radical. Opponents screamed it would lead to black domination. One newspaper complained they would soon see Negress suffragists, Negress senators, and Negress representatives. But for the radical Republicans, it was a matter of moral justice and, crucially, political necessity. They were creating a brand new electorate in the South made up of freedmen, supportive white Southerners called scallywags, and Northerners who had moved south, carpetbaggers. This new voting bloc, they bet, will be loyal to the Union and provide the votes needed to finally ratify the 14th Amendment. They were placing the fate of the Constitution directly into the hands of those it was written to protect. The impact of the Reconstruction Acts was immediate and transformative. A political revolution swept the South. Protected by the federal government, black men rushed to register to vote. An overwhelming majority, with rates as high as 90% in some states, they signed up. In total, around 735,000 black men enrolled to vote across the 10 former Confederate states, a powerful new voting bloc that reviled the roughly 635,000 registered white men. For the very first time, black communities had a direct say in their own government, and they seized the opportunity. The church, already the center of the black community life, became the center of political organizing. Ministers became political leaders, rallying the new Republican vote and even running for office. The result was an explosion of black political power unlike anything America had ever seen. During Reconstruction, over 1,500 black men were elected to public office in the South. They served at every level, from sheriffs and school board members to state legislators and U.S. congressmen. South Carolina even elected a majority black legislature. Mississippi sent 2 black men to the U.S. Senate, Hiram Revels and Blanche K. Bruce. This was the new political reality the radical Republicans had gambled on. And these new biracial governments went to work. They established public school systems for all children, a first for many southern states. They passed civil rights laws and started rebuilding a new foundation of equality. Most critically, they did what their predecessors refused to do. They ratified the 14th Amendment. The same state legislators born from the votes of black men now cast the deciding votes. On July the 4th, 1868, North Carolina ratified it. Then on July the 9th, Louisiana and South Carolina both followed suit, providing the final votes needed. The 14th Amendment officially became part of the United States Constitution. The political gamble had paid off. The amendment that defines American citizenship today wasn't just handed down. It was secured by the direct participation of hundreds of thousands of newly enfranchised black men. The ratification of the 14th Amendment was a monumental achievement, a second founding that fundamentally redefined America. It granted citizenship to everyone born in the U.S., born on U.S. soil, and promised equal protection under the law, providing the legal basis for the civil rights movement a century later. Landmark cases like Brown versus Board of Education, which ended school segregation, were built on the promise of the 14th Amendment. But the inspiring rise of black political power during Reconstruction was tragically brief. The forces of white supremacy, temporarily pushed aside, came back with a vengeance. Terrorist groups like KKK launched a brutal campaign of violence and unaliving to suppress the black vote and overthrow the new Republican governments. The federal government's will to protect these new rights faded. By 1877, the last federal troops were withdrawn from the South. Reconstruction was over. So-called Redeemer governments led by white Democrats retook power. They systematically tore down all the progress, passing Jim Crow laws to enforce segregation and disenfranchise black voters with poll tax, literacy tests, and grandfather clause, and you guys know the effing rest. That just bothered me. Oh, that bothered me so much. Woo! This country got a great debt to pay. That's why they don't like talking about it, because it brings too much fear. They've always been afraid. You say anytime we take a step forward to do something for us to secure our future, they always saw it as a dominance, hostile takeover. When all we wanted was just to be left alone so we can build our own infrastructures. But see, when you have a wicked fearful mind, no matter what that person does, it has nothing to do with you. They're going to always see their wicked, fearful mind. When we take a step forward to do our own thing for our own people, in their fearful, dark, wicked mind, they always see it as an attack against them. It's not about you. It's not about them. It was never about them. It was, our people knew that going through the horrific, horrifying act of slavery, prisoners of war, they knew they could not continue to live with those people. They saw things that I don't even think you know what? I don't even think we know, really. I don't even think we grasp what our people went through. I don't think we grasp it. We hear stories. I've done videos talking about it. The horrifics of that barbaric, perverted institution. But I don't think it comes close, people. I don't think it comes close. I heard some vile things that they made our people do. I remember one time I ran across a story where the woman said that, what was that evil woman they always talk about? She was a white woman that her and her husband used to experiment on their slaves in Louisiana, where they would shove feces in their mouth and sew their mouths up. Yeah, things like that. I don't even think we even heard close to how barbaric these people were to our people. At this point, I don't even think I want to know. For what? Because if I can't do it back to them, what's the point of me even knowing? Because in this day and age, you can't, can I go and do to them what they did to my ancestors and not ever go to jail? No, it's not going to happen. So I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go. That is not a good feeling at all. So you could say, well, is that the only thing keeping you from doing that to them, not going to jail? Well, hey. Nah, honestly, really no. That's not the only thing that's keeping me from doing that. God is keeping me from seeking revenge. Revenge eats at your soul. It destroys you. You go get it. You go get the revenge. You're successful at getting revenge. And what does it do? You feel good for a second, then condemnation comes. And condemnation is terrible. So that's the end of what I had to share with you guys. And I did it because I truly have nothing but love and respect for Black American men. I do. Those of you guys, you Black American men that have issues and just, self-hatred, I don't know what it is until you're ready to deal with it. I don't know. I just pray for you. That's all I can do for you. But y'all will not be abused by you. I'm sure you grasp by now that I'm not the type that I'm not a welcome mat at all. I can be loyal, very caring, giving, have your back. But I will not be abused or misused. That will never happen. God have mercy on the one who tries it. So Black American men, like I said, you can demand respect all you want to, but until you're ready to give it back or until you're ready to stand up and be respected, it's not too much people can do for you, homie. I'm just telling you facts. Go around acting a fool and then demanding somebody respect you. See how that's going to turn out. And then I'm going to give you a heads up, Black American man. I was looking at this video. This guy he was handsomely cute. He was cute. He wasn't like, oh God, he was fine. He was cute. I was looking at this video where this guy was talking about how it has something to do with Michael B. Jordan dating this Asian chick. And, it makes you wonder, like, dude, you say you love your mama so much. Why do you want to be with a woman who don't look like your mama? And I'm not saying he don't love his mom, but it's just weird to me. So anyway, the guy in the video was talking about how some black men expressed how they want to be with black women, but you know, they feel like they are getting a cold shoulder. You know, they act like they don't want to talk to them or this, that, and the other. And this one guy who I said he was handsomely cute, he was like, yeah, you know, I wanted to be with black. He said, I wanted to be with black women. The thing is, he said, I always liked them more than they liked me. And he had this like cute little smile going on. I was like, oh. But I can get why some black women, like if he went to school with them, I can see why they just saw him as a homie or little friend or brother because of the way he looked, you know? Like, man, I don't want to mess this relationship up with you. You're so adorable, you know? I can't tell you black men why some women don't want to be with you. I don't know. Like, I was looking at this video where this guy said, you know, the nerdy, like, intellectual dudes, the black women in college didn't want to be with them. They wanted to be with the roughnecks and all that. And then so when the men, the nerdy intellectuals became rich and whatever, they went with the other women who was digging for, because you know these other women, they wasn't taught to be like us. They wasn't taught to be defended. I mean, they weren't taught to be independent. They were taught to be taken care of. So they saw these nerdy guys and they knew they was going to be something at the college, so they latched on to them. While you black women, y'all was going for the roughnecks, you know? So he said, because the black nerdy guys didn't, you know, you guys wasn't checking for them and they wanted to be with you. Now, you know, now they with these other women because you don't want to give them a chance. And I'm like, are you just with these other women because black women didn't want to give you a chance? How does that working out? When you know in your heart you really want to be with these black women. Because I don't give a damn. You can call me biased. You can call me whatever the hell you want to. Ain't no group of women like black American women. Ain't no group of women like us on this earth. I don't care who you going with. It ain't the same. It ain't the same. It ain't. Because when you meet that woman, that black American woman, you can sit down with and have deep conversations, not even just about race, but just life. And y'all vibing on one page and y'all got the same lineage, the same history in this country. How can any other group of women compete with that? They can't. I remember this one last thing. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna end it. I was looking at this video. I don't know if it was a compilation, but I know this black woman said that her mother was married to a black man, her father, and they were friends with a black man and a white woman who were together. They were married. And the mother didn't have an issue with their relationship. Neither the mother or her father had an issue with their relationship. But one thing that broke their friendship, the black mother and the white woman who was married to a black man, what broke up their friendship was the black woman and the white woman was having a conversation. And she said she told her husband, he can cheat on her with any woman but a black woman. She didn't go into details about why her mother stopped being friends with her after that was said, but she stopped being friends with her. To me, what I gather or assume, the white woman was like, hey, I can compete with these other women, but I can't compete with a black woman, because she knows at the end of the day, even though she's married to a black American man, and I'm only talking about black American men, there's still something a black American woman has that other woman will never have. And she knows that. Plus, that black American man came from the womb of a black American woman. But you would never be able to take the place of that, and you would never be able to compete with that. That matter of fact, that black man not only came from the womb of a black woman, his father came from the womb of a black American woman, and their parents came from the womb of a black American woman. So there's a connection that you will never have. I don't care how he treats you. You'll never have that connection, and you know it. So I assume that's why the white woman told her husband that you can mess around with any other woman but a black woman. And the woman who was the young lady who was telling the story said her mama was like, I'm out. The woman obviously had an issue with black women. So I guess the mother could have been like, well, damn, you got an issue with black women. And I'm one. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to leave you with this, Black American man. You want the respect that you think you're supposed to have. Start respecting yourself and your community. And nobody will ever be able to not respect you. And even if they try not to, who cares? At the end of the day, you have respect for yourself and respect for your community. That's all that matters. All right, I'm out, y'all. Thank you for the support. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video.